Youth of South Africa, your time is now. You are not just the future, you are the force that can change this country right now. You are the millions sitting in classrooms with no teachers. You are the graduates with no jobs. You are the hustlers, the dreamers, the fighters, and they want you silent. But time for silence is over. The ballot is your weapon. Registering to vote is the first act of defiance. Here's how you do it. Go to www.elections.org.za on your phone or computer. Click Register Online. Enter your ID number and home address, where you live and where you'll vote. Confirm your voting station and boom, you're registered to vote. Don't have internet? No problem. Go to your local IEC office or voter registration station with your green ID book or smart card and register in person. History is made by the brave. Register to vote. Stand up and be counted.
It's a Friday, Jumbo Africa, Zonga, Africa and the Diaspora, and thanks very much for tuning in to yet another episode of the EFF Podcast. My name is Titus Tshungu, coming to you from Winima Digizela Mandela House, and today I'm quite honored to be joined by a man who doesn't need too much introduction, but he is a radio and TV personality, a philanthropist, if you like. Is mostly known as an entrepreneur. He has done a lot to shape and change the status quo, or challenge the status quo when it comes to the issues of entrepreneurship. And he's got the hustler mindset. DJ Sbu, thank you very much for coming through onto the EFF podcast. Welcome.
Ralocha.
Sharp, my brother.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah.
You're
welcome.
Can I please just fix one thing, fella?
Okay, sure. Oh, okay. Well, the brain is very important.
They are both 11 years old.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Sure.
Wow. It means a lot.
Sure.
You know, South Africans are very creative, or rather talented, when it comes to nicknames. I mean, from Sibusiso to Sbu to Sbuda, from Julius to Juju, from Floyd to Reddy Floyd.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, so I find that to be very interesting because you are DJ Sbu, there's Mzixman, there's Mzegezeke, you know, so South Africans really are people who are quite talented with nicknames. But welcome, DJ Sbu. First and foremost, man, it's such an honor to have you. It's Youth Month, and we have taken it upon ourselves to ensure that there's nothing about us without us. And we have the captains of the industry who are here to help us understand the journey that was. Looking at the issues of unemployment. That is the big elephant in the room. But before we delve too much into the nitty-gritties, why do you love hugging trees?
Yeah, no, God has been good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm alive until I reached the age of 46. I've just turned 46 last week. That's a week ago.
Wow.
46 years is...
Happy belated birthday, man.
Galebo.
Sure.
Galebo. I just appreciate breathing. I appreciate a fellow pelo. And I know South Africans do show me a lot of love, and they think Kinnam Zege sometimes. So people will say, hey, Mzex man.
Sure.
I'm like, but I'm not Mzege, that's Sbu, you know. But it's always nice to get the love still to this day.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I broke into the entertainment and the media scene when I was young. I was about to turn 21. I was 20. And that was already 2001. And still today, I still get the same amount of love, the same amount of support even criticism that I get, or when people hold me to account, or people speak their mind as far as I'm concerned, I never take it personal, even when I do get criticized. I understand that I'm a public figure, and I'm a part of this nation. I love hugging trees because trees are alive. Trees are nature. Nature is us, and we are nature.
Okay.
There's people of the water. You consist mostly of water in your body than any other organ. We consist of water out here on Earth, in the universe, more than land itself. The land mass can never compare to the water that we live amongst, and that's part of nature.
Sure.
And for me, as I've just been learning a lot of things over the past couple of years, it's been beautiful to learn about nature, to learn about the knowledge that I've been acquiring. So that's one of the reasons, pretty much.
Sure.
From time to time, I'll walk in my garden, or I'll just hug trees, or I'll do lots outside, let's say. But it's something beautiful.
Barefooted.
Yeah, because electric, the ground is electricity.
Sure.
So if you look at our elders, even leba betha meropa, nabashaya igubu kanje bagida, and the drums are made of animal skin, and they make a certain sound, and as they hit that African drum, and then you see them dancing in unison, whether it's the ladies or it's the guys, whether they are Tsonga, Mapedi, whether they are Zulu speaking, or whatever culture, as long as they are African, or whichever part of the continent is, they sing in unison, they dance in unison, and when they do all of those rituals or deeds, dancing and celebrating, they don't wear shoes. It's intentional, because once they hit barking, you know, the bottom of your feet, when you hit the ground,
you connect with the nature.
Thank you, my brother. There's just another frequency that one can't explain.
Wow.
But those are some of the most beautiful things that we're sort of not taught. So it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful knowledge.
It's all about a sense of belonging. It also gives a sense of belonging in some type of way. And I've seen one of the Pan-Africanists, Joshua Maponga, he does that as well. Are you doing some lessons from him? Are you
encouraged by him? A lot. I learn a lot from these different African scholars. He's one of them. I learned from him as well. I learned from my elders. I learned from Bokoko Baka, Abokoko Bami bayangifundisa abomama abadala, and some of them that I get to bring on my podcast as well. I just keep on acquiring this beautiful knowledge. And I keep on kasizulu bari inkungu iyasuka emehlweni kancane kancane. You know, the mist, when you're driving in the mist in the car, as your wipers keep on removing that mist on the window, and you start switching on your park lights, and inkungu iyaqala iyaclear kancane kancane. Basically that's what happens the more you acquire knowledge. But knowledge can never be enough. Like, we learn until we die. So I'm just in that consistent journey of learning more about myself and my culture.
Yeah, and we need to learn more from you, because you've walked the journey, and South Africa is facing a huge problem of unemployment, and you have done quite well for yourself and for other entrepreneurs or other South Africans that are looking up to you in terms of job creation, in terms of breaking into the market and creating jobs, being self-employed. But how do we really solve the problem of unemployment in South Africa? Is it something that we can solve ourselves?
It's a very good question. It's something that whoever is watching right now who's unemployed, they can draw inspiration from maybe this video. They might get some couple of ideas to go and break that cycle for themselves. Firstly is we do need the telecommunications companies to be summoned to Parliament and have that conversation of dropping the data. The data conversation has been going on for many years, for over 10 years. Data still has not dropped. If you go to East Africa, you go to Tanzania, you go to Kenya, you buy 1 gig for like an equivalent of 5 rand. At most, you'll pay an equivalent of 10 rand. Meanwhile, here in South Africa, you pay 10 times more than that just for 1 gig. So, number one, that's just the stumbling block. Getting online, acquiring internet. Because once you get internet, that's the new golden age that we're in. We've been preaching the AI revolution is coming. we've had the different revolutions that have happened over the past decades and centuries. But right now we are in this AI revolution where young people can liberate themselves and employ themselves using the internet. And the only way they can do that is by learning, acquiring knowledge online on how they can do so.
Sure.
The simplest way to do it is to open up your social media accounts, is to be yourself and start using the phone and recording content of yourself and sharing it online. And we're seeing a lot of young people do that daily. And currently the fastest growing social media platform in the world, especially in the continent, it's TikTok. I loved it when, I was interviewing Minister of Communications, Ntate Malachi, and he was telling me about the conversations that he's been having with people from TikTok.
Sure.
They've got a creator fund, that they open up to other creatives all over the world, but not in South Africa. But we're also bringing out, hundreds of thousands and millions and tens of millions of numbers. And our young people and content creators on TikTok need to be paid for such. So it's good that finally, the government and those people are starting to have that type of conversation of engaging these social media companies to open up and pay our young people. But yes, the simplest way is to grab your phone, get some sort of internet. Instead of getting your mother to buy an expensive sneaker or whatever, rather umukope or mama, hona le company ya barenki Vomatel, or hona le company barenki Ikeja, hona le company ya barenki whatever. They give us 100 gigs of data or unlimited data every month, maybe for $199. Rather just give me $199, mama, for the next 6 months. Just for Wi-Fi fella. The rest I'll handle. Or just buy me an entry-level smartphone.
Sure.
And then the young person can just be themselves and create content. You've seen an influx of a lot of them on TikTok. Some of them are comedians. Some of them are making jokes. Some of them are scamming, not scamming, pranking people.
Yeah.
That's part of content
numbers,
creation.
yes, sure.
But once you get the numbers, and once you start understanding how to monetize the numbers, you monetize your TikTok, you monetize your Facebook, your X, Twitter, you monetize your YouTube, your Instagram, and you link all of them, and then you open up even a YouTube platform so that you interconnect these social media platforms and cross-promote your content from one platform to another. But the most important thing is to monetize so that you start getting paid for the views that you get, for the engagement that you give those platforms. So those are some of the ideas that are tangible, and those are immediate, that any unemployed young person can do right now, today, tomorrow, right? But yes, that is the future, access to the internet.
Yeah.
But also, yes, definitely entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship also, most entrepreneurs right now, they're doing very well online. We've just started a food business called Mzake's Kitchen. A lot of people are like, but where is it situated? I'm like, it's only online. If you're in Sandton, Rosebeck, Randbeck, in Johannesburg, just order the food. Go to Uber Eats, go to Mr. D. You'll get the food delivered to wherever you are. But
On your fingertips,
it's online. It's an online restaurant.
Sure.
Why? Because I'm also evolving and moving with the times, understanding the power that people are now here. Everyone is on their cell phone. So if you want to also embark in entrepreneurship, find ways on how you can take advantage of the internet in maximizing the profits or traffic that you can send to your website, to your business. You can even buy Google ads, you can buy YouTube ads, you can buy Facebook ads, and streamline all those ads using such engine optimization to come to your website, and then link that to your social media platforms to market your business, so that then you convert those leads into money, into sales, whatever you're selling. I don't know what products you're selling. Now, these are some of my products. I just told you about food. The energy drinks are here. Other people are selling online courses. People are selling books. I also sell books. But it's high time that entrepreneurs understand the power of the internet. The statistics currently say South Africans stay the longest on the internet than any other country in the world. We stay an average of about 39 minutes per day. So your market is online, and those are some of the
doing the right things,
immediate things. Others are doing wrong and right things. Sure. But what I want to say though is the immediate solution that we can start looking at, especially politicians in parliament and our leaders, is to give our young people access to cheap internet, if not free internet.
Sure. And I'm quite moved by what you just said, because the EFF currently is taking the government, in fact, it's tabling a motion to ensure that data and airtime shouldn't expire, because it's a rip-off. You buy airtime today.
It is.
Before you even use it, it's expired.
Do you know what I mean?
So it's ridiculous. I mean, in terms of when we look at ways and means to create jobs, you've just pointed out quite correctly that a lot of youth, a lot of people, young people spend most of their time on the internet. But you find that they can't make money because they don't have enough data. Data is expensive. So I think the way to go is to, in fact, challenge this thing in Parliament and also get the youth to change their mind in terms of their voting patterns, because majority of the youth, they do not vote. And as much as the EFF will try and push this thing in Parliament, we would need at some point a majority to pass some of these bills on our own without having to wait for a buy-in from ANC, Action SA, or other political parties.
I totally agree. And it's beautiful that a young political party like the EFF, that's why I'm putting the Mufai can next to the EFF bottle, because I'm also inspired by the struggle of the movement, the EFF itself. It's as old as the Mufai company. Yeah. So from a distance, one has always been inspired by having young people conscientized in the country as far as politics is concerned. A lot of us were not even paying attention to what was going on in Parliament television, what was going on in Parliament.
Before the advent of the EFF,
Old people would go in there and pass on certain policies and laws without even our knowledge, would be less interested in politics. And I think ever since, in the previous decade, ever since there's been the EFF, that has changed. There's been a huge number of young people that are interested in politics. And that has to be commendable. So we really appreciate the role that you guys have played in the political scene in the country, and the contribution, and also just self-actualization of Black people. I was watching one of the clips. Juju was talking about sometimes right and the consciousness keeps
true.
You know what I mean? Like conscientizing people, for people to not be afraid to be themselves,
the
and speak for
complex,
themselves. And believe in themselves that they're more than capable, right? And as you're speaking about the culture of entrepreneurship as well, is nobody's going to save you, bro. Like, not your rich uncle, not the people that you think you know, not those people that invite you, who've got money, who send you for the ices sometimes. One day, they're not going to just wake up and decide, they won't. They'll only just call you to hang out with you when it's time for fun. So only you are reliable or responsible for your own future. So you have to start waking up right now.
Sure.
Start finding out ways and creating ideas on how you can create your own thing. If it's not products, monetize those social media platforms. It's not those social media platforms. I know a young person who wrote a book out of his own phone. Those statuses that you post on a daily basis on Facebook, those complaints that you keep putting out there, all of that stuff, if you spend that amount of energy, that's a book. You're literally writing a page every day. But the only problem is that page that you write is of nonsensical content that is out there online. Why don't you just streamline and focus all of that content into writing your own book, turn it into a PDF or a soft copy, start selling it online. If you're good with karate, you're good with welding, you're good with plumbing, you know a lot about law, or you know a lot about accounting or mathematics, whatever it might be, just get onto the internet, write a very short book, 5, 6, 7, 8 chapters, soft copy, start selling it online, even if it's just for $20. Like, just do something. You know, there's one of the videos where I was motivating somewhere in Cape Town, speaking to a group of entrepreneurs. That video went viral, where I'm saying things like tuna something,
It's always in my mind, that thing, eh? Yeah, sure.
Like, do something.
You
know what I mean? So I really do feel that there's a lot of opportunities. Contrary to what a lot of us say, I believe there's a lot of money. I do think, though, that our leaders are very irresponsible with it. They're very corrupt, a lot of them. They've eaten the money that was supposed to trickle down and make a difference in our communities. But there is a lot of money, Mzansi. So number one, in your mind, you shouldn't tell yourself there isn't money. There is a lot of it. But it's just for you to tap into finding a way on how to get that money into your pocket or your bank account.
Yeah.
Now, when I walk and I try and get into the EFF building and I see Mary Fitzgerald's Square, and as I'm getting into the Winnie Madikizela Mandela building, all these people that I'm seeing that I keep on greeting, look at the ranking there. Ke bona di 10 rand fela.
Oh, man. Yeah. You have a hustler mindset, bro.
My money thinks like that, right?
Yeah, sure.
That's why I relate to the guys who are selling in the street corners. Maolidi ba ba rekisang di-plate mo di renkeng hi. Those people make 3, 5 grand, 7, 10 grand a day, bro.
Yeah, sure,
just selling food. You and I look down upon them, but you don't know the money that you make at the end of the month. They make that like 5 times more. Something. So, we need to just start. And as I was saying earlier, that the brilliant thing that you guys have done, you've conscientized the youth and you've made a black person start thinking about solving their own problems. So much so that when you think about becoming an entrepreneur, sometimes it doesn't have to be like the most amazing idea. No, the very simple things that you walk past every day, those boys or those ladies who are selling the cool time, cool time, 5 rand. Those people are making good money. They're making 500 rands a day, 700, 800 bucks a day. You know what I mean? So you just need to find a way on how you can create some sort of product or get product somewhere at a wholesale and then find a corner or find a place with traffic and then sell that product. And earlier on, I was making an example about being online. And then make sure that you digitize your business. You're online. You've got online presence. You're selling all the time. The people that are doing really well that are local businesses right now, they've got very good internet presence. If you look at Laduma, Maxhosa, very good internet presence. Tsepo Jeans, very good internet presence. Batu, Drip, Mofire. We are always online because we know that's where the people are. We're not balaking.
Nothing should stop you, really. I want us to look at, because unemployment in South Africa is very systemic, especially when it comes to black people. But when we look at our white counterparts, we always read about generational wealth. These people, their forefathers have left them with, generational wealth. They don't have to go to universities because their fathers have got farms and all of that. And those farms belong into our land, which is why the EFF now wants land to be expropriated without compensation. How do we instill the culture of creating generational wealth in the mindset of a black child without having them to be, or without them being trapped into debt?
That's a very good question, my brother. And it brings about a lot of topics. Number one, the immediate topic that it brings about is what you've just mentioned, the land issue. These cell phones, these minerals that create these cell phones come from the ground. These clothes that we're wearing, these cans that we use to manufacture these drinks, the water that is in here, all of it comes from the ground. The shelter that we sleep in, the food that we eat, and every ailment in a human body, there is a cure for it. There is a plant as a cure for it. Somewhere that can cure that ailment in the body, and comes from the ground. So the land is a really, really sensitive and a very important issue. And we applaud people for amplifying that conversation because we do need the land back. The land is ours. Nobody must come and convince you and tell you, hey, the land is ours. And I also support that message. The land has to be expropriated and back into the people's hands. The people do deserve the land because it is our land. No later than tomorrow. It needs to be back later than as soon as yesterday, right? So it's a very important conversation because that's resources out there that you're talking about. People that are in construction, people that are in real estate and property, people that invest in that space. I'm also in that space.
Sure.
Very, very big space, very crucial space. It is a very profitable space also if you are able to mobilize crowdfunding or putting together a stokvel and getting a group of people like yourself to put in some money in the kitty to sort of speak to the banks or form a stokvel and then to use your funds to start investing in property or to buy a piece of land somewhere and then rezone it from agricultural land to whatever, commercial or residential. You can start building there and selling those houses. But that's why the conversation of the land is important, so much so that, yes, as much as Rona, because we are blessed, we can be able to put those funds together, invest. But what about those who don't work, but who come from this soil? They do deserve pieces of land for free, right? So the land has to come back. I was just making an example of how other people are monetizing the land. But then again, how do we liberate ourselves? How do we change our lives forever? It's systematic, my brother, because even the banks themselves, they're not geared in such a way that they favor the entrepreneur. You know, there's certain laws and policies and regulations that other people who are smart, they are so smart that they lobby certain politicians such that they end up passing certain laws. And then they themselves, as big business, they've got loopholes in the system that you and I might not understand. And they capitalize on those loopholes to get themselves big contracts.
Sure.
And they keep on milking the state for decades and decades of years, where you and I will never find out. And that's why sometimes in some companies or corporations or even government departments, you find certain people who don't even want a promotion. They get offered another a bigger or better position where they're going to be paid an extra 20 or 30K. They refuse it. They want that one that they're in. And like Peter, Mr. Van Rensbeck has been in that position for 21 years. Because, you know, he passes on certain deals or certain opportunities to his friends. That's why he's in that strategic position where he's sitting in. So other people do take advantage of the system by passing laws, by lobbying politicians, and obviously using their money, which is an unfair way for an African child. The African child do needs the system on their side. They do need the government on their side. I just feel that a lot of our politicians are sleeping. A lot of our politicians doing so much well that they're comfortable in the lives that they're living. I think they've forgotten how it's like to sleep osagaula. They've forgotten how it's like emako taxing in the queue emele taxi. They've forgotten how it's like to suffer and go through poverty. I think they've been comfortable for so many years that they really don't care. They say they do, but a lot of them don't really care about the people. And those are the people who are supposed to be changing those policies to favor our people. So as much as the system is not on our side, what is it that we can do right now to change our lives? I know a lot of entrepreneurs, as I was saying earlier, who have gotten to acquire knowledge on how financial systems work in South Africa. So much so that they want to, I'm trying to phrase it correctly.
Sure.
They surround themselves with people who understand the financial system.
Sector as well.
And they bring the banks to become their friends. So they're able to build their relationships with the bank and use the bank's money to build their businesses. But it's not an easy thing if you are just from, Seshego, Tembisa, Emlazi, Kurumane, to easily understand such information. So financial information is extremely important for financial independence and for generational wealth, because you need to understand how are these trusts set and how do they benefit you? How do they pass on generational wealth? How do these life policies work in conjunction with these trusts that they start and these different investment platforms or products that these banks are always offering? What are the different bargaining solutions that the bank might have that might favor you as a small business owner or an entrepreneur for you to be able to grow the wealth? So that's the reason why knowledge is power. Having the right people around you, having to mix and match with certain calibers of people. That's why a lot of young entrepreneurs go to seminars, they go to entrepreneurship symposiums, they network with other people, they form networking groups. You must have at least a couple of professionals in your circle of friends. You can't just be having people. You must have like an accountant or two or three. You must have an investment banker or a legal person, a lawyer guy. You must have some, you know what I mean? Like, you need other people's expertise and knowledge to benefit off as much as you are also adding value in their lives with, however. So as a black child in today's world, as much as the politicians are fighting the fight wherever they are playing their role, you can't just wait for them. The immediate way on how you can liberate yourself, I guess it's what we've been saying over the past couple of minutes. You have to find a way somehow.
Sure. And DJ Sbu, you have made a good name for yourself, and you continue to inspire other entrepreneurs as well. But where did your journey really begin? What prompted you to, start a business? What were the conditions that necessitated your step towards being an entrepreneur?
I'm from Tembisa.
Okay.
Yeah, Tembisa. The father that brought me up sadly passed on now in 2017. Ludwig Mulatleri Waraleope, forever grateful for you, sir. Papa, ke a gopola, may your soul rest in peace. Robala ka Khotso, who comes from Muleche Rapao in Limpopo.
Sure.
And he was a very kind man. He was a community leader, was very involved in our community. People loved him around my area. Nelelele Khata.
Sure.
And up until he was promoted in his later years to work at the Bedford View police station. That's the man who gave me principles, who gave me values. That's a man who disciplined me. That's a man who played a fatherly role in my life. As much as Hang Khudisa, he might not have been the man that gave birth to me, because the man that gave birth to me was absent. He was not around. And Datenkosi, Leana, may his soul rest in peace. He passed on in 2009. So I don't have my fathers, although I still have a lot of fathers in the form of my mentors who have mentored me. So that's the background that I have as a man that I am today. I am because of Ndate Leope. And I remember the humble beginnings of when I was growing up, Kowelamlambo. It was those later days of apartheid. The smoke in the township, the graveled roads, there were no street lights at the time. Next door, TV. We did not have all of those resources, and I just have those vague memories of how South Africa was at the time. They were built by apartheid. I grew up from that environment at a neighborhood called Welamlambo. From Welamlambo, we moved to stay called Hospital View. Hospital View, I stayed there for many years. We were one of the first people to get to Hospital View. The earlier houses of Hospital View were built by an old Afrikaner guy by the name of Bilhad. Bilhad built those houses. Now that I'm in real estate and property development, I look at how much money Bilhad made. I look at how many houses are in our neighborhood and township.
Sure.
And just the memories I had in seeing just that neighborhood come up and what it has become. And those houses are still standing till today. And that was like in the early 80s. Right now, it's what, like 2025? That's over, what, 40 something years ago, almost 50 years ago. And those houses are still standing there. But yes, it was humble beginnings. I acquired an education, go Welamlambo Primary School, Honago Tembisa. I went to Sipiwe Higher Primary School. I studied go Tembisa High, Madibatlo. I was also sent to boarding school, go Soshanguve, go Pitorida. Go the HE, Kanada, go boarding school. Kailo Hiral, go the Ele, Kanna, go the Ele, via Vivi, via Philippe.
Via Philippe,
Nakiphela go TNT before it became TNG, and then it became TUT. I remember all of those days and all of those years. So that was my upbringing up until I came back to Joburg, and UJ at the time it was called Vets Tech before it merged with the Randza Afrikaanse University to become UJ. Vets Tech, I went there and I did my first year of electrical engineering. My bridging course, I'd done it or TNT. And that's pretty much how I started my career. And as I was on, I didn't stay on campus, go Vetera. I used to stay go Hillbrow, go Berea, at that round building, but Ponte City. So I stayed in Ponte City, and staying in Ponte City sort of opened up my mind. At the time, there were no Uber taxis, no Maxi taxi, but the Rose taxis in Joburg. Yeovil was not the Yeovil that you see today. Yeovil that Rocky Street used to be banging. It used to have clubs like Bo Rockefellers, Boba Peter, Boda Joint. There used to be Tando, Kwakodimo, and then that's how I started DJing. I used to DJ in some of those clubs. We DJ with some of my friends, go Vets University. I DJed on campus. And so simultaneously as a DJ and as a student, I sort of became a hustler. I'd become a waiter. I'd waiter at some restaurants, go my Rosebank, go my Santin. I'd make some extra money, and I'd keep on buying vinyls. And I bought my music.
You're a fast learner.
I built myself like that. Yeah. That's how I started my career.
Okay. Quite nice.
Sure.
All right. So looking at that background, now you have more fire. Earlier on, you spoke about the importance of data and cheap data.
Free data, actually.
Free.
Too
much of it.
They must find ways how to make money.
Yeah, there's quite a lot. And you started an online radio, Massive Radio. Where is it now?
Massive Metro is still around, but the visual side. It's called Massive TV. Massive Metro, the radio side of it. We had to close it down because COVID-19 happened. When COVID-19 happened, we were not making money from our clients anymore. We had to cut down on our stuff. And as COVID-19 lockdowns lasted longer, unfortunately, we were not making money anymore. And our investment was not lucrative at the time. We ended up sadly having to close it. But I believe that we're ahead of our time. We knew that these times were coming where everybody will be online. Little did we know that at that time when that revolution was happening, we ran out of money and unfortunately we had to close. But I had to evolve and get into podcasting like what you're doing with my podcast, The Hustler's Corner.
Wow, great. And let's talk about More Fire. At some point, it landed you in hot waters with your former employers, so current employers, whichever way.
Sure.
But looking at the journey of, you're saying it's turning 11 years.
Yeah.
How big is More Fire now? How is it doing in the market?
I guess the people will tell you. I mean, I'm sure Luena, you drive to Limpopo, you drive to the Eastern Cape, Malanga, in some little corners, you see a can of More Fire there. It wasn't as what it is becoming today. It's humbling to see it spread to be everywhere. But it's always been, me and my partner when we started Mr. Sbu, Likhuleni Shongo, we're inspired because, as I was saying, that it's almost the same age as the EFF. It was around the same time as Juju and his compatriots were fired from the African National Congress. I was fired from the SABC, which was a state broadcaster. And that's why I was saying from a distance I was inspired because they were walking a similar journey, moving out of this giant where it's normal for people to say it's cold outside the ANC.
Sure.
How are these guys going to survive? And then they started the EFF. How is this guy going to survive? He's just a DJ. He's on Metro. He's been fired. He was taking chances, advertising his energy drink. Who does he think he is? This thing's not going to go anywhere. Sweet 80. They're taking chances, these guys. Where do they think they're going to go? So looking at it now, 11 years later, you can never say as a black child that you're successful or you've arrived because nobody arrives. None of us is free up until the rest of us are. And it doesn't matter whether you've got 11 Rand or you've got 110 Rand. I don't think that you should have a mindset of feeling like you've arrived. You must always understand that you've started a struggle that sort of inspires millions of others that are watching you. And you've pretty much started a generational legacy that is going to be carried on by other people. If I drop dead today, my partners and my teams are going to continue with the struggle. The business is going to continue to grow. So for me, maybe to say it's successful, we're making a lot of money, I don't want to mislead the public, but I want to say to the public, thank you. Appreciate the support. Appreciate each and every one of you guys that buy a can of this. You make a difference in our lives. We're able to pay our children's school fees. We're able to pay salaries. We employ just a little under 500 people right now nationwide. The brand is doing really well. We've got over 10,000 clients. We're in wholesalers, cash and carries. We're in stores. When we started this thing, we had that vision. There's even videos, if you go Google them. What I love about the struggle of More Fire, from when we started it, we've created content using our phone.
And you've been selling on the streets, man.
Yes, sir. And we used to say it. But there's going to be a time this thing is going to be everywhere.
Like a Coca-Cola.
You know what I mean? Like, that's how we used to inspire ourselves. You know? So when it starts happening, it's not like you are not grateful, but you're not surprised because you've always known this is where you wanted it to get to. But it's still early days. I don't think we are where we have to be. Even when we do really well and we're everywhere in South Africa, there's still the SADC, which has got about a 300 million community of Africans. That's a beautiful open market that's there. There's intertrading in Africa. There's opportunities in the north of the continent. Right now, we're in a couple of countries. We're in 7 countries. We're definitely in Lesotho, Swaziland. We're in Botswana. We're in Zim. And not fully. We're in pockets of those parts. We're also in the DRC partly. We are in Tanzania partly, in Kenya partly. We are partly also in Ghana. We are trying to get into Nigeria. We're trying to get into Mozambique and Zambia. So we are a growing startup company that a lot of young people look at as an inspirational story for them to be inspired with their own dreams. So God has been good. It hasn't been easy. I had to lose a lot of things. My partners, we've had to sacrifice. We've had to create a lot of relationships while also angering a lot of people by challenging the status quo and disrupting the market. But I believe that we've done very well and we've fought a good fight so far.
Indeed. What sets you apart, or what sets the brand Mofire apart from others? What's so special or unique about Mofire?
If you look at the can is black. And the reason why it's black, a lot of people have always said Africa is a dark continent, but we always believe black is a color that signifies strength. It's a color manyora. It signifies boldness. And if you look around the black can, there is that gold around it. Because they've said it's a dark continent, would like to say to them the same messages that the EFF spreads, that they're lying. There's a lot of minerals here, and that's the reason why Europe looks as beautiful as it does, because they've used our labor and our minerals in the Western world, and that's exactly what they've done. So we're saying to you, your continent is wealthy. If you're in South Africa, you're walking on top of over 52 minerals every day.
Sure.
Some of you come from Mahai and you want to come to Joburg. You're leaving the minerals where you come from. There's minerals in Limpopo. There's minerals in Mpumalanga. We are a very wealthy continent. So that's why you'll see the gold around the Mofire. 2 events inspired the beginning of the brand. The one event was 1956 when the black women marched against the past laws, and another event was in 1976 when the youth uprisings started, when young people were sick and tired of being taught in a foreign language called Afrikaans at the time, and the youth rose. And those 2 significant events, we believe those are the generations that inspired lions like us, beasts like us, people who believe in themselves, people who are sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's why we had to grab the bull by its horn and start our own things. As much as we believe we're also inspiring a new generation. So if you look around Mofire, you'll see the gold and the red and the blood that was spilled in 76 and 56 is being honored by this coat of arms, this star, or this whatever you want to call it, that is around the red of the blood, but the goldness as well, the wealth of the continent. We are honoring that generation of 76 and the generation of 1956. So when you do hold the can, it's got a meaning.
Sure.
And people just think sometimes when you come up with branding or logos, you just design, but you've got a meaning. There's a reason why the spear looks like that. The African flag or the African continent is green. And there's a reason why you guys chose the color red.
Sure.
And that's exactly who we are as well. And that's the reason why we even came up with a beautiful I call it people call it a punchline or tag of line. Or ya rona it's amailana le modimo le badimo. Le go ibula ya go rapella. The only drink in the world when you open it prays for you. It says, do you know what I mean? So you have to be creative as an entrepreneur.
Sure.
You have to give meaning to your struggle. You have to have a why you started what you started. You have to have a reason when it's difficult to keep walking. You are inspired by something.
Cheers, man. Cheers to Mofire.
Molwaka, sure. Who would have ever thought? We used to walk into stores, we used to be like, yo, there's Appetizer, there's Tropica, there's Red Bull, there's Monster, there's Yarona, one day, and it wasn't easy. I mean, you'd sit down with these buyers and they'd be like, nah, there's enough energy drinks in the market. We're no longer taking on energy drinks anymore, guys. Please, no, thank you. And we'll try countless meetings. Over the years, it wasn't easy, my brother. There's been multiple times where we almost gave up. At some point, some guy came to work with us, introduced us into the informal market space, the guys that run the big spaza shop industry in South Africa. And we started working together and we did well for 6 months. We started trusting the guy. At some point, we did a deal and we trusted him with stock that was worth over 6 million rands, and he ran away with our stock. He almost bankrupted us. This is when we started. So those are some of the days, some of the struggles that you'll have to encounter as an entrepreneur, but you have to march forth, fall down, dust yourself up, regroup, go back to the drawing board, come back and fight a better fight tomorrow.
Sure.
We never give up. It's tough. It's not easy, but we believe we are tough too. Conquered apartheid.
Sure. And the last time you came to studio with Mofire, it was when I was still working for Capricorn FM, and you brought us some cans of Mofire. And I was very excited, my brother. Very excited. But those cans, I don't know where they went. Somebody stole them. Somebody stole them in the car.
Sure.
So today I'm going to enjoy more.
No, but your cases.
Yeah,
you've got enough. You've got enough stock for you.
Sure. And I just want us to also look at your other businesses, especially the most recent, Mzek's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go the route of an online restaurant and give it a name, Mzek's Kitchen?
The very same reason why I decided to open an online radio station. I could see that the online market was coming. When this interview started over 45 minutes ago, I told you that South Africans currently stay the longest on the internet than any other country in the world. I told you that the statistics say at least about 39 minutes a day. That's at least an average of a time that South Africans spend on the internet, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, whether it's TikTok, whatever it is, people, are online or whether surfing different websites, right? So the market is there. So when we started Massive Metro, that was the goal, that this is the space we want to get into. The world is moving online right now, which is the same reason why I started an online restaurant. And people are like, why an online restaurant? It doesn't make sense. We want to walk there and sit there and eat. And I understand when they say that. But then as much as there's banks with branches and people walk in these queues, there's also banks that are just online. You download the app, you register, everything is online. When you get
Like
in touch
Discovery?
with them.
I think Discovery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or Time Bank, or Discovery. Because the times are moving. It's the same thing. Our kitchen is maybe as small as this studio.
Where you prepare your food, yeah.
You know what I mean? We've got about 3 or 4 co-workers that we work with that assist us to build the business, that cook, that chefs, that sell the food, that cook and prepare an amazing meal. We've got an incredible menu, but we are strictly available on Spaza Eats, Uber Eats, and Mr. D. That's where people find us. People in Sandton, Rosebank, Randburg, Hyde Park, Parktown, all those areas going into Boma Midrand, 8-kilometer radius around Sandton. They're enjoying the meals, and we are opening our second branch next month in Rosebank. And then at the end of August, we are opening in Hyde Park. And then in September and October, we're opening one in Pretoria. We're also opening one in Midrand. So we're growing, and our goal is at least by the end of this year, we need to have 7 Mzake's kitchens around. But you're not going to come and walk in.
Okay.
Basically, what I'm trying to say is that our radius of people ordering online is growing. It's growing. So up until we're everywhere. But for now, we're still just Sandton and the surrounding areas. So but the reason why is because there's a huge market online. And we've only been trading for 3 months now, and we're doing really well.
Sure.
Yes, it's not a lot of money compared to other businesses. I mean, we've taken over 10 years building these other businesses. But for 3 months, for an online food business, I think we're doing really well. And people who sell food, they'll tell you, with food, you can't go wrong. It's a recession-proof business. People will forever eat. People will forever be hungry. And the areas where we sell, because now I'm very present online and I'm very aggressive in pushing my brands online, I do get a lot of those people who then go and buy the food on Mr. D, on Uber Eats. And we're doing really well in that space in terms of converting those that are interested in our menu into sales. And we also work with Uber Eats, which are a technology company. They give us data as to who's buying the most, repeat customers, those that are coming back. And they also have got ways on, you pay them, and then as you pay for marketing fees, they're also able to, it's like when you get onto Netflix, the movies that come up in front the most, you are most likely going to watch them the most, right? Just like when you're changing your clothes, go dropong. The clothes that are most at the front are the ones that you're going to wear the most. It's the same also online. When you're ordering, getting onto Uber Eats, the stores that are going to play, presence as you get into the app in your face are the ones that you're most likely going to try out. And that's what has been happening with us, and that has helped us quite a lot. So Mzake's Kitchen is doing well. The goal is to grow it and franchise it eventually. We're inspired by Nando's. We're inspired by Chicken Licken, KFC. We're inspired by all these international brands, but specifically Nando's because it's a South African brand that has become international. That is our goal as well. We want to do the same. We want to franchise it, give other entrepreneurs an opportunity, but we are starting small and we are moving with baby steps.
Yeah. I must say it's very difficult to interview a fellow podcaster because they answer all the questions before you. Because you stole my next question. I wanted to ask you. So I read somewhere that you're going to enter into, or there's going to be prospect for franchise. But now I want to understand in the process of increasing or growing your footprint. Do you have at the back of your mind job creation? Because like I said, the problem in South Africa, we have a lot of young people who are languishing in poverty, who are roaming the streets. Is job creation one of your priorities?
Yeah, as I did say that here we employ just a little under 500 people. company that's hardly about 11 years old. Zeke's Kitchen just started. We're currently employing 7 people. With the next one that we're going to open, we will be collectively, we'll be having a team of about 12 people. When we open the third, we need 5 more people. That becomes more and more. For every branch that opens, we open up 5 to about 7 jobs. For every branch that we open, 5 to about 7 jobs. So imagine when you look at a company like Pedro's. Apparently, I don't know if it's facts, but I hear that
competing.
one of the people that started Pedro's used to be either a Nando's franchisee or franchisee. They call them Vrizis, right?
Yeah.
Not franchisor, franchisees,
Yeah.
Apparently, allegedly, I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
Apparently, they say one of the founders of Pedro's is somebody who used to work at Nando's. And I guess they were inspired by Nando's to start Pedro's. We all saw Pedro's start in front of our eyes. It currently has, beginning of this year, they had over 140 branches nationwide. Google it. Right now, this morning, I was Googling, they've got over 170 branches. So imagine if one Pedro's outlet is employing 5 to 10 people. Multiply that by 170. Imagine how many people they're employing, which is the same thing with us. As we expand, as we grow, and as God blesses us, we will be obviously employing our brothers and sisters because we do need those skills. We need the cooks. We do need the people that get to deliver the food. We need the people that clean. We need the people that help us with the ingredients, the packaging, the food inside, the drinks. And every meal that you get at Zeke's Kitchen comes with a free can of Mo Fire.
Wow, brilliant. You have contributed quite meaningfully towards the media and entertainment industry. You've been a music producer, a DJ, like you've cited in the beginning. What are some of the lessons? Any regrets?
No regrets. God has been good. God has been good. But I think the one thing that we did well was to be less selfish and pass on the opportunity to others. I was interviewing TK's son. I started TS Records with TK. TK was the SG of the ANC, as you would know. Yeah, Mr. Mbarura just dealt with him a couple of months ago. He's no longer SG.
Yeah.
But for me, when I look at from a distance, even though I'm not a politician, I think it was a blessing in disguise for his son. Because now he's got a beautiful opportunity to focus on helping his son grow his music career. His son has got the biggest house music song in the country currently. And that's Caesar.
Yeah.
And that's a boy that grew up with us, he grew up around us. He's becoming a very solid artist. He's a humble boy, very highly respectful. He's now starting to travel Africa. His career is growing, right? So that's a succession plan where new generation of TS Records. This morning on my radio show, I was interviewing 2 of Brown Dash's sons, Lindash and Zwano. They've got their own music. I mentored Lindash over the past couple of years. I mentored Robot Boy, who's become a star now, who happens to be Mr. Mzwakembuli's son. I teamed him up with DJ Lindash. DJ Lindash is the official DJ for Robot Boy. The boys travel together. I play as a bigger brother and as a mentor figure from a distance. And I kind of feel those are some of the things that I've learned from working in the music industry. When you've got the light on you, shine it on to other people, because it's not that difficult to bless other people. Big Zulu was telling me about how they signed Loa Ndlunkulu. She was just in the studio the whole time, sleeping there, and she was just a girl with dreams. Hardly 3 years ago, look at her today. She's a superstar.
Yeah.
I mean, her streams are amazing. She's growing even bigger. She sells out venues all over the country. But because Big Zulu believed in her, look at how many lives has DJ Maporisa changed, right? Because you've got this light that is on you, and it's a blessing. Just, it doesn't dim your light to, bless other children. And that's exactly what I've learned being in the music industry. No regrets, but it's also not an easy industry. Music industry, because South Africans are so passionate about music. They're as passionate about music as they are with religion, politics, sports, soccer. That's how they are. So there's always a lot of opinions. There's always people have to say things. So coming from that environment, I'm also used to the noise that comes from the outside. But internally, I would like to say that I've been blessed, and the music changed my life. It's given me these blessings that I have. I've become DJ Sbu because of the music. That's why I can even be on radio. I can podcast. I can start these businesses. I can write books. I can speak in public platforms. I can DJ. It's all because of the music. So I'll forever be grateful with everything that I've had to experience in the music industry, good or bad. But I believe it has all made me the man that I am,
And talking about the music industry, we have a problem of our artists. Some of them, when they die poor.
Yeah.
what are some of the bottlenecks that exist within the industry? Is it lack of knowledge? Because there are artists that die poor, but they have been doing well. The music have been have been doing very well. I'll give you an example of the late Zahara.
Yeah.
There were claims and allegations that DJ Sbu was working with Zahara, but apparently there were monies that were chowed there and all of that. What can you say about these claims, and what is the route, the correct route that artists really need to follow to ensure that they look after themselves when they are still alive, and also when they are no more, at least they still have something?
The immediate first thing that as a musician you have to own is your publishing. Owning publishing means you're owning rights of your music. Every time when your song plays somewhere at a bar in Europe, at some club somewhere in New York, on any radio station, there's some funds that go to your publishing. And then your publishing, you're going to partner up with a publishing company that's then worked with the collecting companies where they do their work to sort of trace where your songs were played, how many times it was played on what station, and they collect the money on behalf of the composers of the songs. So owning your publishing means you're owning a big part of your music. So the one brilliant thing that I'll forever be grateful for, even though the public doesn't know, is allowing the musicians that I've worked with to own their publishing. I know we speak a lot about the masters, which are separate from publishing. But I want to firstly specifically speak about publishing. Usis Zahara, we did a great job together. May Usis Bulela Mkutukane, so rest in peace. I think we made history.
Sure.
And sometimes with the controversial conversations that are out there, they sometimes overcloud the incredible history that she made. She is arguably the highest selling musician of all time in South Africa, high up there with Mama Brenda Fassie. She made history when the music industry was evolving from physical sales into digital sales. But she also still showed the industry that physical sales could still sell, with a very unique voice, with a guitar and her story of inspiration. And she did really well.
Yeah, I mean, the Louiswood Project was just amazing.
It was phenomenal. It was everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
And I was also glad that Sis Nhlanhla Nciza at the time was married to Butike Nciza, and she did allow for Butike Nciza to bring a lady from the Eastern Cape who was young at the time to come and stay with them at their home. And she went through a mentorship for about a year or so while recording her music and her album with the late great Ntate Robbie Malinga, may so rest in peace, and Jakes Mjalefa Tebe, to record an amazing masterpiece of an album, as you're saying, Loliwe. She started traveling with Sis Nhlanhla, sometimes with Mafikizolo, backing vocalist, learning the ropes of the industry, how to handle interviews. So there was a lot of investment that was put into helping and mentoring her. And not only her, we did the same with Brown Dash, we did the same with Putintando, we did the same with Pro, the late Pro. We did the same with every other artist that we work with, pouring into the artists and not only mentoring them, but also I mentioned to you about the publishing. So we made sure that our musicians own their own publishing. So Pro owned his publishing, Brown owns his publishing, which is now owned by his sons. So they own his music. So every time royalty payments come twice every year. Because Brown's music will be played forever. Right? That's why they say musicians don't die. They're immortalized through their music. So every time the music plays, every year there's 2 payments that go to the publishing owners of the music and everyone else, just like Usis Zahara. And when you've done that for an artist, you've empowered their family for life, because even if they pass on, the publishing company wants to find the next of kin because of who they were registered while the artist was still alive, and they'll continue paying the family, and that continues. And I think in that way you've done right by other children. But apart from that as well, with a lot of how a musician or a business will invest in the deals that you guys sign and agree to as a soccer player buying a player, or as a management representing a player, and the player gets bought into that company. Some of us as soccer lovers, we're not privy to those behind the scenes conversations and deals that the musicians sign. So sometimes, the public is well within their right to always complain and hold record companies accountable when artists complain. But I believe we've done a great job together. We made history together, and we believe we've helped her change her life, better the life of her family. Even now, as the life continues, the world about King, her music continues to play in her absence. What we did right, and which is out there publicly, I even posted all of those, that Universal used to pay her directly into her bank accounts, and her publishing company that she had registered was assigned to Share Publishing, that also continues to pay her directly into her bank account. And those are some of the great things that I believe we did right by all of the musicians that we've worked with. I believe I've been blessed enough to be a noble son of the soil who's never stolen a cent from anyone. I believe that I'm blessed to become a blessing. When I meet people, I already have an overflowing, I've got overflowing blessings. I don't need a cent from you. I don't even mind helping you without you giving me a little cent. And when you do start making a bit of money or doing well, I don't need a thank you from you. I don't even expect a cent from you. I just want you to continue doing well, because I've been blessed enough. I even know how to make money. You know what I mean? So I understand that there's always been concerns out there, and they'll forever be, right? Because we're in these types of businesses where some people are not privy to the deals that we sign and agree to behind the scenes. But all you can do is to stick right by what you've promised as per the black and white. But anything that is beyond that, then legal people then have to step in and make sure everything gets done correctly.
Yeah. And it is in the public domain that when Zahara died, she was on the verge of losing her house, or already she had lost her house, and the EFF had to come in. But let's look at the deals, some of the deals that were signed perhaps behind the scenes. I'm not sure if you are in a position to share with us such details, but what is your vision of the story when it comes to the Zahara situation, particularly looking at her last days, because she looked to be she seemed to be struggling.
Before the EFF came in, we came in.
Okay.
People don't know this. We came in, and TK Ngiza came in and assisted the family. Zahara, actually, she was still alive, with a couple of hundreds of thousands. It's not something that we broadcast. It's the first time I'm saying it here. And people don't know those things. Even when she passed, the people that contributed and helped the funeral to happen, it's people like us. It's us who worked with her. And those are some of the things that you don't want to go on cameras and say. Now I'm saying it because you are having this conversation and you want these answers.
Sure.
We did more than we could with everybody that we work with. Sometimes we did more than we were supposed to. But sometimes in the public, you might never get the glory. And we don't do things to get glory and for people to say thank you. But it's a bad narrative that is out there. And it's also not right sometimes to speak in their absence when they're no longer here to speak for themselves. And towards those last days, man, the sad thing is that the conversations that were happening behind the scenes were very positive towards, planning you can call it a truce is the wrong word, man. There was a really big plan of the conversations that were happening behind the scenes, and it's just so sad that she passed before all of that could happen. But I believe I sleep right at night knowing that we did the best that we could to assist. But sometimes, unfortunately, we don't do these things, so we go out there to broadcast them.
But do you perhaps know why she landed in that situation?
Musicians, soccer players, entertainers, we all make our mistakes. We're human beings, and we're new to these blessings. Sometimes we are blessed, we're talented, but sometimes we sort of don't come from financial training enough to be able to handle our monies. And sadly, sometimes even though we get shown the right path or the right way sometimes, or we learn the hard way, sometimes it's either... I don't know. I mean, I can't speak on behalf of how other people manage their finances, but I do know that everybody that we've ever worked with did really well. And as far as her legacy, I believe she's the one that made the most than any other musicians that we've ever worked with.
Sure.
And I believe we've contributed as much as we could. even financially, with everybody that we've ever worked with. And we've stuck to all of our contracts. And legal people know our lawyers and any other lawyers that we've ever dealt with that have represented everybody that we've ever worked with. On Black and White, everybody's satisfied. Everything is fine. And me as a bigger brother who worked with these people, of course it would hurt me when people think, you guys, or whatever. It's not fair. But I mean, sometimes you can't always go around and saying, no, I did not. Sometimes you just keep quiet and you just become, the evil person out there in the people's eyes. But what's nice is that you sleep well at night.
Yeah. How did you identify her? How were you able to uncover her and, see that there's talent in Zahara?
It was Boutique.
Okay.
It was after the World Cup. It was during the World Cup fan parks. And he had been doing some work in the Eastern Cape. And then he went to a club after he had been working hard on that day. They went on a Wednesday night to a place that was owned by a brother called Oluetu Hoyana from the Eastern Cape. The place was called Talamanca. They used to have Wednesday night poetry sessions. That's where Boutique identified her talents. And that's where he was like, I think there's something there. He called me in the early hours of the morning. He told me of this amazing talent that he was witnessing. And then I think around from that time, he started speaking to his wife, started making arrangements to bring her to Joburg. And he started telling me, he couldn't stop talking about her. I needed to hear her.
Sure.
And when I heard her, I was blown away. And the rest was history, because as soon as we got into a room with Robbie and Jakes, the type of music that came out of there was amazing. It was raw talent. She reminded me of Joanna Matrading, of Tracy Chapman. She reminded me a little bit of Jill Scott, of Erika Badu. With her conscious lyrics and just her poetry and writing style was amazing. Her voice was very unique. And it was just a blessing, man, to cross paths and make history together with Usis Bulela. But yeah, it's Boutique that identified her talents.
Yeah. When are you making a new sound?
Let me say before the end of the year.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna put out some work. We're experimenting, man, working with some as I was saying to you, that now we've passed on the baiting to Ntwana tsa Rona,
Oh, sure.
Or DJ Lindesh, Bo Caesar, Ntwana tsa TK, all these young people. It's their time right now. But because we also love music, just for the sake of the passion, we keep music. One doesn't stop. It's just that one hasn't been putting it out.
Sure.
But to create, I've been creating. And recently I've been working with Lecompo guys. Limpopo people. I'm loving
taking
that
South
sound.
Africa by storm. That sound.
That sound is amazing.
Yeah.
Bro. I'm doing a lot of work there. So you never know. Mzexman on ali kichi. Maybe I gotta bless our album any day. You never know. You never know. Yeah. But yeah, I'll definitely be putting out some songs this year just for fun. I love music. I love creating. I love people. I love South Africans, and music has made me who I am. I can never stop putting out music, even though I have not put out music in over 10 years. But I will.
Going into the future, what are you looking forward to accomplishing? And what do you want to accomplish going into the future, and the legacy that you'd love to leave when you go into retirement?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to say when you die, but when you go into retirement.
I've already said it on the podcast that musicians, we don't die.
Sure.
Right? So then I'm never going to die.
Sure.
Because you're forever going to see these videos. You're forever going to hear my music.
Sure.
You're going to forever read my books. You're forever going to hear my voice. Even in my physical absence, my energies will still be reverberating all over South Africa. As I'd like to believe, Brown Dash, Pro, and Zahara are still alive through their legacy, through their music. And that's the reason I was saying to you, their works continue to contribute to their families, which is something incredible. But that is my legacy. And my legacy has been to inspire Mzansi through the works that I've done, the music, the entrepreneurship spirit that I've put out there, the positive energies of inspiring other kids and sharing the knowledge through my books, through the talks that I give, and through the people that I meet on a daily basis, and through my ideologies and what I believe in. I think my spirit lives on forever through millions of these young people that are pursuing their dreams, being entrepreneurs right now, believing in themselves, believing that it's possible. When we started with More Fire, entrepreneurship wasn't as fashionable as it is today. We are one of the few people that I believe were in the forefront of pushing the culture of making it fashionable to start our own things, build our own things, believe in ourselves, believe that we are capable, we can do it. So the legacy is huge because because you'll forever be spoken about in generations to come. People are going to forever come in contact with Mofa in different street corners. People will forever speak about the legacy of Mzegezeg. And you asked me earlier on, why that brand? That brand, because a lot of people think it's me, and a lot of people call me Mzegezeg. And it's already a built brand. South Africans recognize that brand. Might as well just use a brand that is already popular and that is already working, that people can identify with, and remix the brand and polish it and facelift it for the new generation, but offer food instead of the music, because you've already built the brand. So might as well just capitalize on the brand that you guys own the trademark of. I think the legacy is huge, and the legacy will continue speaking for itself.
Sure.
And the wonderful works of God that one has done in educating hundreds of kids, taking people to school, paying for bursaries and changing people's lives, plugging them, putting people on, that doesn't go unnoticed in God's eyes. I really do believe that my legacy will forever live on. After all, I am Sbu, so I'm blessed to become a blessing.
Sure. Without a doubt, you are a living radio legend. Do you think podcasting is replacing radio?
It's a good question. I don't think radio will ever die.
Sure.
Because radio is systematic, number one. You need to remember of all these satellites that are all over the country. People get into their cars and they can just turn on their radio sets, right?
Sure.
So radio will never die for that fact. That it's part of something that we grew up listening to. It plays in the background. It's there. It's the same way you've been inculcated into Kaizer Chiefs when you were growing up. Your parents were favoring Orlando Pirates,
it's cheap,
or Mamelodi Sundowns. It's the same, and it's free, right? But what's nice about radio is that it's evolving. It's got cameras in studio now, where it's also part of podcasting. So I believe podcasting will grow bigger than where it is right now. These are early days. We are going to become even bigger than where we are. But what's nice about it is that people are not limited to only speaking for like 2-3 minutes, and there's adverts, 2-3 minutes, and then there's news, and then the time is over. Sure. I mean, look at you and I, we've been going on for more than an hour.
Sure.
There is no censoring, there's no censorship. Some people swear, people who speak, and so I don't swear when I speak, but other people swear. People become themselves when they're on podcasts, and people can express themselves whichever way they want to. There is no gatekeeping. You don't have to be hired by anyone. You don't have to buy even expensive equipment like this. You can just start with your phone, podcasting from your house alone. Then you can get maybe your brother, your sister, your mother, co-hosts, have the conversations like these, and then just start growing your podcast. So there is no red tape or gatekeeping. There's also no framework as far as government is concerned in regulating podcasts. So right now it's open sesame for any young people that wants to change their lives. The answer is over here. And as I was saying earlier, on data. But imagine where podcasting is going to be 15, 20 years from today. So the sooner you start, the better. But it's a new revolution, and I think as many of us as possible have to jump in and take advantage of it and become our own voices and express ourselves whichever way we want to. And you don't have to be like anyone, just be yourself.
Business, entertainment, who do you look up to?
I look up to a lot of people, locally and overseas. Locally, I look up to Ntate Sipho Makhabane. I look up to Arthur Mafokate. I look up to Oskido. I look up to Mama Yvonne Chaka Chaka. I look up to Mama Letambulu and Tate Kaifa Semenya. I look up to Dr. Selo Khalane. I look up to the late great Ntate Philip Tabane. I look up to the late great Ntate Hugh Masigela, the late great Ntate Ray Phiri. I look up to Msaki. I look up to Thandiswa Mazwai. I look up to Zonke. I look up to the new generation as well, Maporisa, Kabza the Small. I look up to the ones that have built businesses around their names. I look up to Kespa Nyovest.
Sure.
I look up to a lot of different musicians and creatives for different reasons. And I learn different things from different people. And I think that's the type of person that I am. As much as I am older, I'm also inspired by a younger generation and how they move and how they're doing their thing. I'm inspired by Robert Boy and his team and how they're building their empire over there. I'm inspired by T. Lee, who works closely with Kespa Nyovest. I'm inspired by the Major League Twins. I'm inspired by Osma Puti, who works closely with Osma Kadzi. I love Makadzi. She's currently my favorite South African musician. I'm a big fan of hers. I look up to what she's doing. I look up to the Northern guys that are doing the Lecompo sound, the KZN guys. I love the Maskandi sound. I love the Statamia sound. I love the Mbaqanga sound. I love the different sounds that are coming out of South Africa. We're so rich in sound, bro. Like right now, there's 3-step. There's this just beautiful texture of house music that is coming out of down here, a mixture of piano, Afro tech, and house music, and we call it, 3-step, Afro house, whatever you want to call it. I obviously look up to Black Coffee. I look up to Trevor Noah. I look up to Uncle Waffles. I look up to Tyler. I also look up overseas to the likes of Abo Jay-Z. And I look up to a lot of people, and I draw different strengths from all of them differently. But also in business, I look up to Ntate Mzikumalo, Ntate Patrice Motsepe. I look up to Ntate Sandile Zungu. I look up to Ntate, there's so a lot of them, Ntate Richard Gumete, Dr. Tim Tebeila. I look up to Mama Judy Dlamini, Dr. Precious Muloi Mutsepe. I look up to Mama Daphne Mashile Nkosi. She's a mining magnet. She's amazing. I look up to Ntate Mike Teke in the mining space. I look up to Ntate Bonang Mohale. I look up to all these amazing, great leaders that keep on inspiring us and who never tire to keep on doing a thankless job of inspiring an African child and being conscious and being so rooted into being an African that gets to understand where we come from, where your wealth or your success is not yours up until you've done a bit to empower or inspire others, or maybe put a little 2 rand or 3 cents in somebody else's kitty to make their lives better. I look up to the EFF. I did tell you earlier. I look up to the incredible works of God that you guys do when you build homes and you give away houses, you give away cars. I look up to everybody, though, that does the works of God and that is undoubtedly and unashamedly loves Black people, because I love Black people.
Sure. Are you a socialist or a capitalist? Are you more on the left or on the right, ideologically?
I believe words are power, and people create words. People call you a father. People call you a podcaster, broadcaster, musician, sir, Mr., Mrs., wife, husband, socialist, Marxist, left, right, liberal, capitalist. These are all words. I believe in the works of God. I believe in my ancestors.
Sure.
Sure. When I walked in here, I gave you a can of Mofa. It started spilling on the floor.
Sure.
And the immediate thing that I said to you is that is a sign. Maybe for me just to be invited into the studio, apart from us contributing on camera and speaking to the audience, I'm probably also brought into this room to remind you. And I asked you a question. I said, what did I ask you?
You asked me, when last did I perform rituals?
Yeah. Even if it's just Thanksgiving, even if it's just Pudi fella, Pudi give 3,000 rands. And then you said it's been a while.
Yeah.
And I was like, there it is. That's your sign.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked even when you get into your house this evening. We saw something at solo. You'll be shocked next week or something at solo. And then you're like, yo, Raspu keeps on saying these things. And you look, we said
I was looking to it.
You can never know, right? So as much as were brought by people who are no longer here, who are my mother and my father. They had their mother and their father, who had their own mothers and fathers. And all of these people, as you are walking in these streets, you are walking with them, right? So these people have lived, and these are your ancestors, and these are the energies that you carry. That's why sometimes when you find you've got certain skills, like now, these broadcasting skills that you have, you'll find that somewhere in your lineage, they come from someone, that it comes from there. Because you didn't just, get here. And I believe in the greatness of God. And so when it comes to politics and my ideologies, firstly, I believe in the African child, and I lean more towards the left, as you would put it, if you were to put it in words. Because people sometimes, when you group yourself and you say, Ole Sandawana or Ole Chiefs, I feel like, hi, you are not a part of me. So sometimes I'm very careful in using words on classifying or boxing myself and saying I'm this. Even in entertainment, I didn't box myself. I didn't just say, no, now I'm just a radio DJ. No, now I'm just this. Now I did everything. And people, it's them that give me words. Hey, you're a best-selling author. Hey, you are a best-selling musician. You're an award-winning this and that. You are this and that. So I just believe in doing the works of God and things that align and speak to me out there politically. I believe are ideologies that lean more towards the left.
Powerful. your views on the GNU? Do you think it's working?
I was on my radio show this morning, and my colleague on the radio said, "Hey, Sbu, did you know that today we are celebrating exactly a year of the GNU? Because we won't be on the radio tomorrow. It's a Saturday. Today it's a Friday. Friday the 13th. We are celebrating a year of the GNU." And my joke, I spoke back to her. I was like, 1 year birthday of the GNU, Friday the 13th.
1 year birthday. Yeah.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It was a joke, and those
Sure.
who caught it. But the actual birthday, I think it's tomorrow, the 14th of May. I'm not happy that, our former liberation movement, the ANC, did a deal with the DA. I wasn't happy with that. I would have preferred a different type of a coalition, maybe government. But even though they decided to go this route, I would have expected them to have done more. But so far in the past year, I believe a year is still not enough to make a lot of changes. But still, in a year, you can achieve a lot of things. Somebody was counting 100 days of Trump and how he came in and he passed on certain laws, and they were just listing them down and some of the things that he's done in such a space of time. So sometimes you require political will to make things happen immediately. And yes, I do understand that in changing a country, it's not a 1 year job. It's not a 6 month thing. But sometimes we must come in with political will. And sometimes, whether people say this or that, just get it done. Just like what Trump is doing. I'm not saying I'm a fan of Trump, but I just love the attitude of deciding that I'm for Americans and Americans come first. And this is what we're going to do. And then when they put you into power, you do that. Just like I would have loved a couple of years ago when in Parliament, the EFF donated some of its votes into the ANC. It would have been nice for that Land Expropriation Act to be passed correctly. But I understand that now what has been passed is not necessarily the golden prize that we're all asking for, but one would always say it's a step towards the right direction. And, people or politicians, they'll always try and scare us with you'll be another Zimbabwe types of talks, right? But I kind of believe in sometimes we must just get things done. I don't think the liberator, Barking, the colonizer is going to liberate you. I believe you're going to have to stand up for yourself and liberate yourself. Like, power is not given, power is taken. You have to stand up and just get it done.
Sure.
So over the past year, the journey has been there. I believe more could have been done.
Sure.
But let's see what they do with another year.
Yeah. I was watching your podcast and you were interviewing MKP's Bonginkos.
Oh, Mr. Kanyile.
Mr. Kanyile.
Sure.
You asked him a question. I don't know if you have brought him back and he answered your question around Floyd. And he said, you know what, I need an hour, I need 30 minutes more to explain. And he kept on asking, what is happening in your party regarding Floyd? And now we know that he has been removed as the SG. Did you get your answers regarding his stance towards the former SG of the MKP?
I believe politicians are very good manipulators. Politicians are very good speakers. Politicians are intelligent. Politicians are very smart and clever. Politicians sometimes dodge questions. I believe it didn't give me the answer that I was expecting. But sometimes, as a podcaster yourself, you do know, sometimes you will not get the answers that you are expecting from your guest. Right? But Shem, I also believe, to his credit, that he had to handle it the best way he could, being on camera, being on the spotlight, and obviously them being the party that they are and, the political climate that they're in right now. I guess he was very careful in answering their question. But personally, I think he knew more than he told me. And personally, this is me personally. I'm not saying these are facts.
Sure.
Personally, I think he knew more than he told us on the podcast. But number two, I believe he didn't want to divulge more than what he did divulge.
Because they were still cooking.
Yeah, but number three also, I think this is just me. I think Mr. Kanyile lies more towards usisduduzile Zuma's side than he would to Floyd. I don't know. I'm just assuming.
Sure.
So I think those are some of the reasons why he was so careful in structuring his answers. Yeah, that's what I think.
Sure. Wow. Thank you very much, DJ Sbu, for coming through. I must say that I'm quite inspired with your story as a young person. When I grow up, I want to be like you.
My brother, you're over 35, you know. You're no longer a young person.
Yeah.
You said 35, you know? 35 is too old.
Yeah, it's so old.
Yeah, young people are up to date.
Yeah.
If you're over 30, you're no longer a young person.
Yeah, you're seeing it all. Yeah, well, thank you very much for coming through, DJ Sbu. Any parting shot?
Parting shot is a thank you. Appreciate it. It's my second time at the Winnie Madikizela Mandela House. I'm right here in these streets of Johannesburg that we grew up under. We grew up here. I've been here in Johannesburg all of my life, and it's incredible to see what you guys have been able to build, and also owning your own business. You guys owning your own building as well. You guys have been so inspirational.
Yeah.
And just the journey that you walk in. Wanting to liberate our people. We appreciate you. We love you. And I would like to thank the CIC for even inviting me the last time and granting me an interview. That was incredible. That was so noble and humble of him, and I appreciate that. And it's good that I got a second invite to come into this building again.
Sure.
My last message would be congratulations on the podcast. This is beautiful.
Thank you.
May it grow even bigger and continue to inspire minds out there to create conversations and debates. And you're doing an incredible job. And I'm so proud of you. I haven't met you back on Capricorn to be doing what you're doing. You're doing a revolutionary work.
Thank you very much, my brother. Quite appreciate it.
Thank
You.
Aye.
Thank you very much, people of South Africa, Africa, and the diaspora for tuning in. Please do not forget to subscribe to the EFF podcast on the EFF YouTube channel.
The Hustler's Corner. The Hustler's Corner. Mine also.
Yeah. Sims, what are you saying?
You'll put the link in the description.
Okay, sure. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. Until we meet again, good. Kan mam.